Hello everyone, I'm here with a new video, and this time I would like to talk about confusion, nonsense, and bullshit in the new Kadampa tradition. The way I see it from outside these videos are my personal opinion, my personal experience of the new Kadampa tradition, just based on what I'm seeing in different new Kadampa forums on the internet. So I made a little selection here. I would like to say, just in as an introduction, what I see as a real issue with the new Kadampa tradition in terms of the kind of Buddhism that they are teaching. The problem here is that the NKT has no real lineage. I mean, they claim to have this lineage, but in reality, there is no lineage. It's a breakaway sect that Kelsang Gyatso started in the 1980s, and it doesn't have any roots. Kelsang Gyatso himself was expelled from his own monastery. But the problem is that most people in the NKT have absolutely no idea about those masters' work. Reading even Geshe Kappa's works directly is discouraged in the NKT. So, in my opinion, there are clearer presentations of Mahayana Buddhism than Kelsang Gyatso's works, but those works are not available for the NKT practitioner. Repeat again, because they are very, very strongly discouraged from reading those masters. Another problem in the NKT is that the NKT right now has no real qualified teachers. Kelsang Gyatso is dead. Some of the older, perhaps a little bit more qualified teachers are gone. And there is nobody there at the moment who is actually teaching real dharma. So no wonder that people are confused and they are worrying about things and they are asking questions. They don't really understand a lot of the things that they are reading, and they cannot get the answers that they need from their teachers because their teachers themselves have no idea. So no wonder then that people are confused even in the most qualified NKT forums. Another issue that I see here is that people really love chatting about stuff, thinking that they really are talking about the Dharma. And there is this idea in Buddhism which is called papancha. And papancha, it's the Pali word for conceptual proliferation. So basically, papancha means conceptual or mental proliferation, elaboration. It refers to conceptualization of the world through language and concepts, which can then be a cause for suffering to arise. So I find this actually really important here. So when you don't understand something and you try to get on these forums online and you start talking about these issues, and then everybody chips in and everybody says something, and of course almost nobody has actually any idea really what they're talking about. They are just creating more ideas, more proliferation of these mental elaborations of the teachings. And that is, I think that is one obstacle in the NKT. I've seen that when I was involved with them. There was always this, talking about these things, trying to understand what these things are, simply because people don't understand these things, and there is no teacher who can actually help you explain what the most basic concepts mean in Mahayana Buddhism. So, as the Buddha teaches, left unexamined, the mind will run off into the strangest places. And because it was me that had this strange thought, it must be real, it must represent the truth. These concepts that arise from our perception, the thoughts that proliferate unbidden, are the concepts that get us into so much trouble. I think this is what the Buddha was talking about when he used the phrase papancha sana sanka, says one author, and I was quoting here. So there's this wonderful story about papancha that I would like to tell here about this woman who wants some potatoes for the meal she's cooking. So she sends her husband to the market to buy some potatoes. And as he walks out the door, she calls after him and says, "But be sure and get a good price." So all the way to the marketplace, the man is thinking about the potatoes and how much he will have to pay for these potatoes. And then, he starts thinking about it, and his mind is going into overdrive. And he starts, thinking if he buys the very best potatoes, he knows he'll have to pay more than if he buys the lesser quality potatoes. On the other hand, the lesser quality potatoes are just that, not so good. In fact, he knows he'll have to be very careful in buying other than top priced potatoes, because the seller might try to stick him with a bad potato, even a rotten potato. When he thinks of someone cheating him by giving him a rotten potato, he gets really mad. Why do people have to be so greedy as to stick me with a rotten potato? Just at this point, he reaches the stall of the potato seller and screams at him, "You can keep your rotten potatoes," and walks off. So this is one good example of papancha and how conceptually overactive mind can lead to suffering and actually just doing nothing. So after this introduction, let's see some of these posts that I have collected here and my commentary of them. And sometimes there's actually no commentary because there's not much I can say. Here is the first one, just to introduce this thing by this NKT member. I don't have much common sense. I have uncommon sense. And so, yeah, I don't know what that means. There's this idea of being uncommon in the Kadampa, New Kadampa Buddhism, New Kadampa tradition being the uncommon path. And I might be ignorant. I'm not sure what this refers to, but this is just repeated over and over and over and over again. And I found this very, very funny, this post, and a good introduction to this video. So let's see this first thing. This was a very, very funny post in the Students and Followers of Geshe Kelsang Gyatso group, where this person is saying, I think that whenever in a book it reads, the things that we normally see or perceive do not exist, it should read, the things that we normally see or perceive do not exist in the way that we see or perceive. Otherwise, it is an open door to misunderstand it into nihilism, just like I did. So this is that old chestnut of the things I normally see don't exist, or don't exist at all even. Sometimes they say it. It's basically the Buddha's, the Mahayana emptiness teachings reduced to a complete point where it's almost meaningless, and it is very easy to misunderstand this and turn it into nihilism. I agree completely with the poster. He is actually suggesting to rewrite, Geshe-la's books, because this is just dangerous nihilism here. And the Buddha's teachings on emptiness, or sunyata, are central to Buddhist philosophy. And there are some key elements here. Once we understand these key elements, emptiness is not that complicated to understand. Like one of these elements is the nature of reality. Emptiness refers to the idea that all phenomena are simply empty of inherent existence or independent self-nature. This means that objects and experiences do not exist in isolation, but are interdependent and contingent upon various causes and conditions. So it doesn't mean that things do not exist. It just means they do not exist in isolation, independently from other phenomena. Okay, another idea perhaps to remember here is the insight into true nature. Emptiness enables practitioners to see beyond appearances and conventional truths to the ultimate reality. This insight encourages a deeper understanding of life's impermanence and the interconnectedness of things. There's also a little thing called dependent origination. This concept is closely related to emptiness. It asserts that all phenomena arise in dependence upon other phenomena. Therefore, nothing has a singular, isolated existence. So, in summary, the Buddha's teachings on emptiness encourage a profound transformation in understanding the nature of reality, promoting wisdom, compassion, and the reduction of suffering through the recognition of interconnectedness and impermanence. But in the NKT, it seems that the emptiness teaching that is presented and is so reduced and repeated ad nauseum over and over again, the things I normally see do not exist at all, makes the practitioner confused and unsure what's going on, and sometimes even psychotic. This thing doesn't exist. I can see it right in front of my eyes, but it doesn't exist at all. So it is kind of a very, very dangerous reduction, in my opinion. And just to show how dangerous it is, here is another post from another NKT practitioner who says, "None of my problems exist because the self I believe they belong to doesn't exist at all. So, yeah, this leads to this idea that some NKT practitioners just kind of laugh at the real issues, the real problems that might arise in their community, in their center, in their families. It's like saying, well, you don't have this problem. You're telling me you have this problem, but you don't actually have this problem because you don't exist. Yourself doesn't exist. It's all just self-cherishing, and these things don't really exist. So it's a potentially dangerous teaching that can lead to psychotic breakdowns, I think. I mean, I don't know if it ever has, but it potentially maybe could. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist here, so I wouldn't like to emphasize this too much, but it is a bit weird. Well, here's another post that suscitated a lot of exchange. There's 131 comments on this. It says there is no Buddhahood other than conceptually imputed Buddhahood. This is the only Buddhahood you can attain. Well, yes, this is actually true in my opinion. Buddhahood is conceptually imputed and understood in the context of interdependence and emptiness, aligning with the broader Buddhist perspective on the nature of existence. But so what? So what is the deal here? Why is this so important? Why do we have to spend hours and hours discussing it and talking about it? And I'm not even going into the comments here, which are just, incredibly funny. This is papancha at its best, just mental proliferation that is leading exactly nowhere. Well, here is another post by one of the major NKT influencers, Kadampa Ryan, online, who posts a lot every day, and it says, don't try to be anything more than a humble practitioner. VGL never did. Well, VGL stands for Venerable Geshe-la. So don't try to be anything more than a humble practitioner. VGL never did. Well, I'm preparing a video on Kelsang Gyatso and how little we actually know about his life. But whatever we know about his life, it just doesn't seem to me that he was a very humble practitioner. He came over from India to the UK to teach beginner Buddhism, and he basically almost immediately created his own little group, contrary to the regulations of the organization where he was working at that time. And then there were issues with Manjushri and the way he extorted Manjushri basically from that same organization. He was a fake Geshe who said he was a Geshe, and he never passed his Geshe exam. He challenged the Dalai Lama. He had his students organize demonstrations against the Dalai Lama and stalked the Dalai Lama for decades. He threw away the FMPT library. Basically, he got rid of the library. He extorted Manjushri from the FMPT. He created his own sect almost as soon as he arrived in the UK, going against and contrary to the FMPT regulations. He had himself called the living Buddha. He traveled around with bodyguards, and he was dreaming of Dharma, basically taking over the world and building enormous temples in every major city of the world. Now, I don't see the humility here. I don't see the humble practitioner here. I personally have a completely different image of someone who is very humble, but I guess it's just a question of opinion. Now here is a post by Kelsang Gyatso showing an old man in a hospital bed. I have no idea who this person is. I don't think it's nice, actually, to post these kinds of pictures of private individuals who we have no idea who they are. They could be somebody's dad or brother or husband or whatever. Grandpa, not very nice to publish these pictures. But he says, you can improve your home, but you can't improve your samsara. It's rotten all the way through. So this is a common trope in the NKT to, old age, sickness, whatever, they're part of samsara, but samsara is something that you create in your mind. So I don't see the reason for these posts actually, except create some kind of fear and disgust in the viewers. Am I going to become a better practitioner of Buddhism if I see a post like this? Maybe some people might be, but I don't think so. It's not even really correct. That person in that bed might be completely enlightened. Who knows, what's going on there. He might not be in samsara anymore. We just don't know about his mind state. So I wouldn't use a picture like that to show what samsara is, because samsara is in your mind or not. It's just basically as simple as that. Well, here's a post from Thornby Hall. They're inviting you to a summer fete, and these kinds of events are for attracting people, just normal people. People don't have an idea. It's a beautiful day. They have no idea what to do. It's going to be a gorgeous Sunday. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're just going to go to these beautiful grounds and have a summer fete. Check out the program, Summer Fete. It costs £2 per adult under 16 years and free, under 16-year-old free. Everybody welcome. It's a 5-hour program, a fun family day with a variety of stalls ranging from handcrafted giftware to holistic therapies, live bands, fresh vegetarian food, free meditation, taster sessions, face painting, and more. And there's going to be live bands, music, and a lot of fun things. Please check that the word Buddhism is not mentioned anywhere here. So if you are not familiar with the NKT, you don't know who they are, you would go to this event. It would be just wonderful. These events are made to hook people in. Notice that it's almost for free. It costs only £2, right? So it's not free, because if it's free, it doesn't really have any value. But it's £2 per person, so even the poorest of the poor could afford it. One meditation session and the little teaching session in this center is about £20. So if you want to participate in a 2 or 3 hour program in Nagarjuna Kadampa Meditation Center, it would be between £15 to £20. It's quite expensive. It's a quite expensive center, so the Buddha Dharma is very expensive here. But this fete, this celebration, this little festival is almost for free, and it's entirely for marketing. People have no idea of what they're getting into when they go to a program like this. Okay, so here is, there's 2 posts here regarding Dorje Shugden. There's just like so many from Kadampa Ryan and the other practitioners. Trust Dorje Shugden is arranging things exactly as they need to be. And reliance on Dorje Shugden is like doing Tai Chi on a surfboard while riding wild waves. Let me read that again. Reliance on Dorje Shugden is like doing Tai Chi on a surfboard while riding wild waves. Okay, I'm sure Kadampa Ryan knows what he's talking about. I have no idea. Some other NKT members actually commented. They also didn't understand. One person says, "Can I do both?" And the laughing emoji, yeah, I guess you can. And another person was asking, "Can't tell if this is complementary or not." Well, yeah, I can't either. I have no idea what it means. I have no idea how it's going to help me along on my path. It sounds like bullshit to me. It sounds like, I don't know what it sounds like. It sounds crazy. Here's another wonderful positive post, and I'm being ironic here, from Kadampa Ryan. At least 99% of the beings in samsara are in the lower realms. Don't fool yourself otherwise. So, I have no idea what this means. I don't know if this is actually true. I have no idea how Kadampa Ryan made these calculations. At least 99%. So probably more, possibly more than 99%, which means virtually everybody in samsara are in the lower. Who are these people in samsara? I don't understand. Again, samsara is a mind state, right? So we are working on our minds. It's not something out there, like there's just like samsara out there, and in here is pure land, as they tell you in the NKT. They sort of consider the NKT as pure land, and everybody out there who is not in the NKT is in samsara. But like I don't really understand what he means by beings in samsara. So I guess he means beings that are ignorant of the Buddha Dharma, maybe, but there are plenty of people who are not ignorant of the Buddha Dharma and have done terrible things that, according to the Buddha's teachings, would land them in hell realms for eons. So, I'm not sure exactly what he's trying to say here. Here is one post by one major NKT influencer and actually resident teacher. She says, and showing the book, Essence of Vajrayana, when you have to memorize pages 136 to 260 and you have less than 24 hours left. Now, this is meant as a funny post, but there's actually nothing funny about it. I mean, studying Buddhism in the NKT means actually memorizing pages from Kelsang Gyatso books. This is the truth. She's probably preparing for some exam or maybe some teaching assignment. I'm not sure why she needs to memorize these pages, but basically we know that studying Buddhism in the NKT means actually memorizing Kelsang Gyatso's books. And I would like to quote here one of our members in the group in our Facebook group, the exposing the New Kadampa Tradition book, and this person was saying regarding this post, this shows how little respect there is for studies in the NKT, shamelessly admitting publicly that she is unprepared for the exam, no energy for studying, but plenty for social media. This is quite typical, and more often than not, written exams aren't even marked. There's little valuing of studies while collectively showing off that one is a qualified teacher who values Geshe-la's books above everything, yet doesn't actually study them seriously. Full of contradictions, which, of course, is our human predicament. But there's a lack of self-awareness here that is mind-blowing. Yeah, completely agree with this commenter. This is actually what's going on here. Posting on social media, being active on social media, but not taking studying seriously enough. And can I blame her? Would I want to memorize 130 pages from a book for some exam, actually memorize it? I don't call that studying, that's something else entirely. Well, here is another post from Kadampa Ryan. And I'm quoting Kadampa Ryan so often because he posts so much, and there's really just so much confusion and nonsense among his posts, and he is followed by a lot of people. And so this is what he says: have compassion for those who create negative karma towards you and towards the Dharma. Okay, so this is crazy. This is so, honestly, I have no idea, again, what this means. In Buddhism, the concept of karma emphasizes individual responsibility and the understanding that one's actions, intentions, and states of mind contribute to the karma one experiences. The Buddha was unequivocal about it. He said humans are owners of their karma. We are owners of our own karma. We create our own karma. We cannot create karma for somebody else. And what does it mean to create karma for the Dharma? Like, the Dharma has no karma, right? And I cannot create karma for somebody else. This is basically wrong view. And coming from someone who's been practicing Buddhism for almost 30 years, actually very, very surprising. So let me say a few more things about karma. So basically, some key points relevant to the issue of karma is personal responsibility. Buddhism teaches that individuals create their own karma through their actions, thoughts, and intentions, while others may act in ways that are harmful or negative towards us. It is ultimately your own responses to those actions that influence your karmic situation. Okay? So if somebody hurts me or creates problems for me, that is not creating bad karma for me. My reaction to that is what's creating karma for me. So if someone behaves negatively towards you, their actions may indeed have karmic consequences for them, not for me. However, how you respond to their actions is what shapes your own karma. Holding on to anger or resentment can create negative karma for yourself. So often the dharma is misinterpreted. Like in this case, regarding the dharma, which is basically the teachings and the path, others can misinterpret or misrepresent the dharma. But again, the focus is on how you engage with these teachings and your understanding. If someone acts negatively towards the dharma, it can affect their own karma, but it does not diminish the truth of the dharma itself. So this particular post really got my goat a little bit, and thereby I have created a little bit of bad karma for myself as well. But I guess it wasn't really anger. It's just was, what do they call it in the NKT? Something like righteously wrathful or something. That's what I'm feeling when I see posts like this. Well, guys, I could just go on and on and on and on. I have so many more screen grabs here, but I guess you get the picture. It's I do think that there are a lot of sincere practitioners in the NKT, but it does seem like blind leading the blind. It is so sad to see a group of people without a guru, without real spiritual, qualified spiritual guides, who are not even allowed to just look outside and check what's going on in other Mahayana groups and try to clarify some issues. My heart goes out for them, honestly. My heart breaks for these practitioners. And my video, this particular video here, is really motivated by goodwill. I mean, I don't want to make the NKT ridiculous here. That's not my intention. What I'm trying to do here is actually telling NKT practitioners, if they're watching this, check out. If you are confused, if you don't understand something, if you don't get an answer, or you get an answer and you still don't understand, which happened to me a lot when I was involved with the NKT, I would ask a question and the answer was just completely confusing. And then I was blamed for my own confusion, for not understanding it. If that's your situation, look outside, check other sources, check other teachers, do some research. You don't have to read only and exclusively Kelsang Gyatso's books. You're not going to be confused if you are reading other Mahayana authors or the original Tsongkhapa books, or if you ask other teachers even. There are so many other teachers around who are wonderful, who are really qualified, that you can ask, either online or in real life. There are many other Buddhist groups that you can join, where there are a lot of fantastic, better qualified practitioners who understand. You don't have to be confused in the NKT and go on and on with these sort of conversations that lead nowhere. So this is really my motivation here. My motivation is my love for the Dharma and my love for the people in the NKT itself, So anyway, thank you very much for your attention. Please like this video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon with another video.